The traumatic armor. Why runic tattoos and flight cannot cure family karma. The story of this young girl is deeply tragic, yet it serves as a powerful, cautionary textbook case of what happens when psychology, ancestral trauma, and ancient mysticism collide. Her actions, tattooing a rune on her neck, fleeing her family, and entering a secret marriage, were desperate attempts to build a symbolic armor against her grandmother's black energy. However, trying to fight a toxic family system using its own weapons often leads to a fatal trap. Here is the deep analysis of why her rescue plan ultimately failed. 1. The trap of magical thinking and the runic line. Growing up around a dominant, destructive figure who manipulates black energy, whether through actual esoteric practices or severe psychological abuse, warps a child's worldview. The child learns that the world is fundamentally dangerous, and the only way to survive is through magic, control, or force. When the girl grew up, she tried to escape her grandmother, but she took her grandmother's tools with her. Choosing a rune for protection is a manifestation of that very inheritance. Instead of relying on rational, earthly boundaries such as professional psychotherapy, legal protection, and physical safety, she turned to mysticism. Subconsciously, this was an admission of defeat. My grandmother is so powerful that human methods won't work. I need a magical shield. By doing this, she never actually cut the cord. She locked herself into the same esoteric arena as her tormentor. 2. The vulnerability of the neck, a beacon for the predator. In both psychosomatics and esotericism, the location of a tattoo is just as important as the symbol itself. The neck is one of the most critical zones of the human body. The psychological angle. The neck connects the mind, our plans, thoughts, and desire to escape, with the body, our instincts, fears, and ancestral memory. Under chronic stress, the neck muscles freeze in a permanent trauma response. By tattooing this area, she was trying to cement her vulnerability, making it impenetrable. The esoteric and archetypal angle. In nature, the neck is the exact spot where a predator bites its prey to kill it. An exposed neck signifies trust. A armored neck signals that the person is constantly anticipating a fatal blow. The danger of movement. Runic symbols are strict. On the neck, the skin constantly twists, turns, and stretches. In runic practice, an inverted or distorted symbol can completely reverse its meaning, e.g., turning protection into self-destruction. Instead of becoming invisible to her family's radar, she inadvertently lit an energetic beacon on her most vulnerable spot. 3. The laws of ancestral systems. Why flight is not freedom. In systemic psychology, there is an absolute law. What we fiercely run away from will always chase us. A secret marriage and cutting off family ties are excellent steps if they are driven by a desire for freedom and building a new life. But if they are driven purely by terror, the family system views it as a frantic escape. The invisible tether. When we exclude a parent or grandparent from our lives with hatred, panic, or horror, we remain bound to them by a massive emotional umbilical cord. True liberation from a toxic lineage happens not when there are thousands of miles between you, but when the thought of that person no longer triggers a paralyzing fear inside your soul. The burden on the secret marriage. Entering a marriage to escape a family means using the partner as a human shield. The husband is no longer just a loved one. He is a savior. This puts an unsustainable weight on a young relationship, and the husband likely lacked the psychological or spiritual resource to withstand the massive ancestral vortex his wife was trapped in. The ultimate lesson. The tragic passing of this young girl is a somber monument to a brave but flawed battle. She used external attributes, a rune, a geographic flight, a secret wedding, as medicine for a deep, internal, systemic disease. You cannot trick an ancestral system simply by drawing a symbol of power on your skin. True power cannot be inked. It is forged within. It comes from the agonizing but liberating realization. Yes, my family is destructive. Yes, my grandmother carries darkness. But I am an adult, and her malice has no power over my consciousness. Had she built internal psychological autonomy and stripped her grandmother's memory of its terrifying power over her mind, the outcome could have been entirely different. Instead, she chose a magical war against an opponent who, within that specific realm, was objectively stronger. It is a heartbreaking reminder that healing past trauma requires inner transformation, facing the shadows, and stepping into the light of awareness, not putting on a heavy suit of armor that ultimately suffocates the wearer. If you have nevertheless decided to get a runic tattoo, it is crucial to consider a few recommendations to avoid mistakes. Understand the meaning. Each rune possesses a unique meaning and energy. Choose a symbol that truly resonates with your goals and personality. Avoid random combinations. Incorrectly combining runes can alter their original meaning. For instance, specific sequences can amplify conflicting energies. Be mindful of associations. Certain runes, such as Othala, Odal, or Sowilo, Sigel, are associated with radical movements. Exercise caution to avoid misunderstandings. Choose the location wisely. Placement matters. Position the runes on parts of your body where you feel their impact will be harmonious. Seek professional advice. Consulting with experts in runic symbolism will help you correctly select the symbols and determine their placement. Respect the heritage. Runes are not merely aesthetic elements, they are powerful symbols. Use them with respect and a deep understanding of their history. A runic tattoo is not just a piece of body art, it is a serious choice that demands a conscious and mindful approach. Make your choice wisely. Summary: the reality of runic tattoos and ancestral trauma. When dealing with powerful esoteric symbols like runes, especially in the context of deep family trauma, intent and understanding are everything. Below is a comprehensive summary of the psychological and spiritual dynamics at play, along with essential guidelines for anyone considering runic body art. Part 1. The tragedy of symbolic armor. Using runes as a desperate shield against a toxic or abusive family system often backfires. When a person is emotionally exhausted or acting out of terror, external attributes cannot fix a deep, internal crisis. The trap of magical thinking, turning to mysticism to escape a dominant, abusive relative often keeps the victim trapped in the perpetrator's worldview. It acknowledges the abuser's ultimate power instead of establishing rational, real-world boundaries. The vulnerability of placement. Inking a symbol on a highly sensitive, shifting area like